Yeah. So, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us again. So, as you know, today Molly is going to be your host. I'm only merely here for a few minutes, and she's going to be talking to Jane Tritton. Tritton, is that how you pronounce it? Tritton. Jane Tritton from Greenfinch. So, I'm going to hand over the screen to them now. They've got some amazing guests lined up for you. And I might pop up again a little bit later and have a little chat. But essentially, I'm going to be watching like the rest of you. So that's going to be a joy for me today. I'm actually going to get to enjoy the time and, watch it with the rest of you. So I'm going to turn my screen off and hand the screen over to Molly. Have a lovely time.
Thanks, Leslie. Right, get straight into it, I think. So, Jane, could you explain for those of us who don't know, just a bit about you, a bit about Greenfinch, what the motivation you had behind Greenfinch and what it is at the moment?
Yes, hello everybody. And yes, hello Molly. So Greenfinch is, well, first of all, it's located in the vibrant, buzzing village of Ticehurst. So we're in East Sussex, close to the Kent border, close to Tunbridge Wells. And as I say, Ticehurst usually, and it will be soon again, hopefully, is a vibrant, buzzing village full of, we've got several local independent shops and cafes and pubs. So well worth a trip down to see us. And Greenfinch is, I think, best described as an emporium of local artwork and goods made in Sussex and Kent. So I only opened in October, so I'd only been open for a few months, and then of course we had the dreaded lockdown. And my vision was to have a shop full of these local goods from Sussex and Kent to support and to showcase their work. And actually, it's funny because my background is event organising, so I did smile to myself on last week's talk with Gary and Leslie saying, "Oh, no boredom threshold, so you become an event organiser." Yes, that was me. So I've been organising events for about 20 years in various formats. Always had an interest and a passion in art, the arts world, and the arts in general, actually, performing arts. So I had been running the Robertsbridge Arts Partnership for about 9 years, bringing affordable arts, talks, theatre, art displays to the local area. So this opportunity came up, this shop became empty in Ticehurst. And as I say, I'd always wanted a shop. That was my vision. And so, here we are, reopened again just yesterday. And actually, I should say we are live from the shop. So we will have customers coming and going at some point, hopefully. So that's what we do, and it was going really well actually up until lockdown, and kept the interest going on social media since then. So had reopened yesterday, had a really busy day, lovely day. People just popping in to say hi, coming in to see what was new. Actually sold one of your paintings yesterday, Molly.
Really?
Yes, I did. I did. Yes. So I meant to text you this morning and didn't have time. So that's a brief bit about me, and that's a little bit about Greenfinch.
That's fabulous, because you've got such an eclectic range of things, haven't you? Because I remember when it was first, changing over from the Architect to Greenfinch, people thought it'd be, another gallery. But you've got so many things. I think I've bought so many things from you, haven't I?
Absolutely. And again, that was, very much my vision, was to have a wide range of goods here. So we have, gorgeous cards. So people do pop in just for a card. We have locally made soap from Stonegate, goat's milk soap for £5, right the way through to, some stunning artwork from local artists as well. So you're absolutely right. It's quite an eclectic mix, all carefully chosen, all beautiful goods. So from soap to cards to lampshades to ceramics to jewellery, a selection of books, all with a local connection. locally made linen clothing, which is going really well, actually. What else? Oh, we've got Claudia Vegan's glass art in here, which also does really well. We have got natural candles and bath and body products in here. We have got natural vegan perfume from Eden Perfume in Brighton. So yes, we have got a very wide range of eclectic, local, beautifully made goods. So hopefully something for everybody here.
I'll say, and everything works out. We'll be speaking to Claudia in a minute, won't we?
We hopefully
will.
will. Yes, yes, yes.
So, tell me a bit as well, because I didn't actually know you were an events organizer in a previous life until yesterday when we spoke. But you do events at Greenfinch, don't you? I remember Beanie McDonald's book launch. You did.
Yes, we did. Absolutely, we did. And again, when I saw the space, and it is a really lovely, beautiful shop, actually, I'm very lucky with the space that I've got. My vision was to hold book launches in here. So yes, we did Beanie McDonald's, local lady who lives here in Ticehurst, her colouring book of happiness for children. We had that book launch here, which went really well. And I had just started holding Meet the Artist and Meet the Maker events in Greenfinch, again, before we had to stop. So we've had Sally in from Floradora Designs with her personal cards. So we did that for Valentine's Day and for Mother's Day. So she would do, create a personalized card and a personalized message while people were in the shop waiting. So that went down really well. We've had Becky from Float Press in giving us a talk about her background, her life, her process, her inspiration. So people are always really interested to find out more about the artists and makers. And who else have we had? We've had Lucinda Bothwell in, a Ticehurst artist, again, chatting about her very interesting life. And it's always fascinating to hear how people end up doing what they're doing. Because for some people, it's not a straightforward journey for their art, their creativity. They could start off, doing something completely different in life and come to it later, which is it's always particularly lovely to see when people finally realize what it is that they want to do and can realize that creativity. So yes, we're very much about holding events here, and we will do those again as soon as it's safe to do so. But meanwhile, I have been doing a virtual Meet the Artist, Meet the Maker posts on Instagram and Facebook, and they have gone down really well. Actually, they've really sort of captured people's imagination, and again, it's about showcasing and marketing the artists and makers while we're in lockdown.
Of course, yeah, because the story behind the artist informs the work so well, doesn't it? We were saying this about Yolanda's work, who I'm a huge fan of. Yes. I think my whole house is full of them. But knowing her and being able to speak to her makes the work almost glow. It's just such a lovely thing.
Absolutely does. Absolutely right. It really brings it to life, and it's just incredible what a wide range of talent there is out there, and how very different one piece of ceramic artwork can be to the next. They're also individual. So yeah, particularly lovely to hear. And of course, Yolanda had spent I think it was 2.5 years in Japan, and she said that has influenced her work, and you can almost see that coming through in her figurative work as well. So yes, I agree. It does really bring the work to life. Just getting a little bit of background understanding and getting to know the artist and maker. And again, that's very much what Greenfinch is all about. It is for people to come in and chat to us here about the work that they're interested in.
Absolutely. I will say as well, if anybody who's watching would like to get in contact with you, after this, and maybe talk about putting some of their work in Greenfinch, talking to you about events, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Email is always a good way, and maybe attaching some images or website or something where I can see their work. So I am Jane, Jane, at greenfinchshop.co.uk. or you can contact me through Instagram or through Facebook. We're at Greenfinch Shop Ticehurst, or actually pop in and see me. It's always best to check that I'm here, so I'm not here every day. So it's best to check that I am actually here, but people are very welcome to pop in and see me as well. And absolutely, I'm looking to change the work in here around every 3 to 4 months, as a gallery would do, to keep the interest going, to give everybody a chance to showcase their work. So always looking for interesting new work and interesting new suppliers from Sussex and Kent.
Fabulous. Yeah. So tell me as well, the name Greenfinch, where does that come from? What's the symbolism?
Do you know, Molly, I think that was almost the most difficult part of opening up, is the name. It's so tricky, isn't it? Because, you know, you have to think through all the connotations of the name that you choose. Mm-hmm. Could it mean something else? Has it already been taken by a similar business? And Greenfinch was one of the first words that sprang to mind. And then, of course, the more you chat to people, the more confused you become, because everybody's got an opinion about what a shop should be called, or what they would call a shop. And I think, you know, can end up being almost too clever about the name. And I just kept coming back to Greenfinch. You know, I wanted something natural. It's a fairly common bird that we can find, you know, in the local countryside. It's got that green in the title as well. I'm being as eco-friendly as I can be, so hence the supporting local artists and makers, so low carbon footprint goods coming in. Most of the products I have in here, in fact all of them, the bath and body products and the candles, are natural candles. They're eco-friendly. They are actually, quite a few are vegan products as well, so it was thought that, you know, the green in Greenfinch worked really well as well. And I have to say, I'm really pleased with the name. Yes, it would be disastrous, wouldn't it, if you chose a name and then, you know, 6 months later thought, oh no. So yes, but it is, I think, with anybody setting up a new business, that you think, oh, that will be the easy part. Actually, that was almost the most difficult part in choosing that name. So here we are. I'm very happy with Greenfinch.
I think it works really, really well, and I think everyone loves it. And the branding of it, like you say, is so natural. It's so local. It's so important. Yeah. What else I was going to say, because I know we've got a few guests coming on. But I wondered your opinion of, obviously you say you've been in the arts, you know, your whole life. What do you think are some vital qualities for makers and creatives, or do you think there aren't any, or what's your opinion?
So it's a great question, actually. I think passion has to be the number one quality. So passion, I hesitate about using the word drive. I think maybe focus is a better word for it, but definitely passion. Now, I'm going to say self-belief with a smile on my face, because so many amazing artists and makers that I meet and I have in Greenfinch are just so humble about their work and really quite shy about promoting themselves. And I'm saying, but this is amazing. It's incredible work. You're so talented. So I think it's important to have that self-belief, really have that self-belief. But equally, I do understand when it's your work, it's a very personal thing, isn't it? When you're actually out there and showcasing your work to the world, it becomes very personal because it's your baby. Yeah. Are people going to like it? Are they not? So I think really passion, focus, drive, believe in what you're doing, give it a go. And actually, this is where this very strange lockdown period has been great for so many people, because they've had the time to actually explore their creative side. And actually, I've got a new local supplier, Green Paper Products, with her wildflower cards, who approached me a few weeks ago. And, you know, she has a a job out in the corporate world. She's been furloughed. She said, this is something I've always wanted to do. I've had time to do it. I've created these cards. I've set up this little business. What do you think? And that's just so fabulous to see. So I think it's about making time as well. And if you've always thought, oh yeah, I'd like to give that a go, even if it's just on a very casual, personal, amateur basis, just go out there and give it a go.
I love that, because I think almost the self-belief and the self-confidence can come later, and that's what's so important about local galleries and emporiums. And it's the people that can then, you know, promote your work like you're doing so brilliantly on social media, and that's when the self-belief comes, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So that dreaded lockdown period, what was Greenfinch doing in that time? What were you working on? How did that work for you? Do you think it was a benefit for the business, or do you think it was a hindrance, or how was that?
Yes, that's another great question, Mollie. It is an interesting question. I think for the first few weeks, like so many of the population, so many of my friends I've spoken to, so many of my suppliers and makers and artists I've spoken to, the first few weeks, I think we were all a little bit paralyzed, actually. Oh, you know, what does this mean? It's very scary, obviously. It's incredibly worrying. I think most of us know somebody who's had it.
Yeah.
So I think the first few weeks, actually, to be honest, I didn't do very much. I was, oh gosh, this is a new world. What do I do? I thought long and hard, actually, about going online for Greenfinch. And I decided not to, because my vision for Greenfinch was to, you know, open up as a welcoming, comfortable, casual space for people to feel comfortable coming into for that personal shopping experience, to have a chat, as I say, to actually see the products. And they are, as I say, from independent, individual, local artists and makers. So I wanted them to come and actually see the physical product, touch them, not at the moment, obviously, but to come and have that physical shopping experience, chat to us in Greenfinch about the artist and maker. And I just felt that would be really difficult to replicate online. So I didn't do the online thing. A few weeks in, I thought, right, come on, let's get doing something. Pull yourself together. Let's get out there and do something. So that's when I had the idea of the virtual Meet the Artists and Makers on Instagram and Facebook. And that sort of galvanized me again to come back and you know, almost revisit what I got in here, because I had been really busy from October to lockdown. And that has worked incredibly well. And from those social media posts, I have had a few sales. There are people contacting me directly.
Like me.
Paying, yes, absolutely. Paying by bank transfer. I have, you know, been out delivering, again, as you know, Mollie, with, you know, at a safe distance, with my gloves, with my mask, so doing it in a very safe way. So we've had a few sales and interest from that. And the other thing that I've started doing is I've started giving the Greenfinch windows, the display windows, and we have got a beautiful shop. Perhaps we'll have a little wander around shortly, with two. It's a double-fronted shop with a door in the middle with two great windows for display. And I have started giving those to suppliers, guest suppliers, for 2 weeks at a time. So we've had Bloomsbury revisited with their lampshades. We've had the Make Shed clothing from Goudhurst. Who else? Oh, we've had the Truggery, lovely Sarah from the Truggery with her trugs. And we've at the moment we've got Tim Crike's artwork in there, and I've got several lined up now to have a 2-week slot, and that has gone down really well, really captured people's imaginations, and actually I've reached a new audience through doing that in the village. So older people who are perhaps not on social media, don't check out the website, they have been, you know, saying to me, messaging me, and I have been in here working dreaded accounts and admin, and the door's been open when I have been in here, although the shop closed. You know, I didn't know that you sold lampshades, sold clothes. sold trugs. So that has been really interesting as well in reaching a new audience who are actually in the village.
Brilliant.
So after the initial few weeks of, it's been just a nicely busy last few weeks with doing, as I say, the social media stuff, the windows, and then sort of obviously getting ready for opening up again. So has it been a help or a hindrance? I'm an optimist, Molly, so I'll always see the good in a situation. It's probably been a help for the shop in that it's given me time to pause, me time to think about different ways of marketing and reaching out to people. So I'm going to say it's been a help. It's been a situation totally out of our control. And I know, it's affected a lot of people in some really dreadful ways. But actually for the shop, I'm going to go with it's been a positive thing. And here we are. And actually it was so exciting yesterday to almost relaunch Greenfinch, albeit without the big party that we had in October. But as soon as we can, we'll do that again.
Fabulous. Oh, that's really, really nice, because it was definitely a time for reflection, wasn't it? Like you say, be that
Absolutely.
good or bad. We've had a few people ask if we can see some of the items in the shop. I'm not sure what's better to do, whether to, physically move your computer around, or if it's better to bring some things on screen. I don't know what you'd rather do.
What do we think? I'm aware of, we could try moving the laptop around, but if it's a little bit too swimmy, then we can. What do you think, Molly? What would you prefer me to do?
Should we try it? And if it makes people seasick, then we'll
try it. Let's try it. Right, I'm unplugging and
fab. Bear with us.
Okay, so here we go. We'll start with the corner of the shop that you could just get a glimpse of behind me.
And that's all the jewellery.
We've got the jewellery there. So we have got Alice Robson jewellery. She's incredibly local from Flimwell. We've got Julian Warrender from Lewis. We have got Summer House Designs. We've got Maisie Plum. We've got Sarah Packington. And actually there above that, you can just get a little sneaky peek of Claudia Vegan's glass art there. So hopefully she will be joining us at about 1:30. We've got Lucinda Bothwell's artwork there above the mirror.
Beautiful.
We've got lovely float press scarves. I don't know if that's the right angle. You can see those on the table.
If you move it a tiny bit down. There we are.
That's it.
Wow.
So we've got her beautiful silk scarves there. We have got Sarah Rickard ceramic hairs, trugs from the Truggery.
Beautiful.
More jewellery there from Linda Thompson. We've got a little bit of clothing there. Oh, there's some artwork up there you might recognise.
That,
yeah. Yes, we have got Katie Brinsley ceramics there. We've got Edwards and Todd ceramics.
I love those milk cartons. They're fantastic.
Aren't they great?
They're so good.
We've got Nicola Campbell artwork there on the wall.
Oh, I can see the Bloomsbury lampshades.
Come to the Bloomsbury lampshades. Apologies, the light might not be great there with the bright windows behind.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And we've got artwork in the browser there. And then we're coming round here. Got more of Claudia's stunning work at the top there. We have got natural aura sprays from Wild Planet products. We've got their candles and room diffusers as well. They sell really well. They're very popular products.
I
Just
bet.
coming round here, doing it slowly so we don't make anybody feel sick. We've got some cards there. More local artwork. Local ceramics. This is the lovely Sandra. We're going to chat to her in a minute, actually. She's a local artist, printmaker, and is helping me out on a Wednesday. We've got Michael Stocco artwork at the back there. Going to come round here.
Wow, that one's beautiful, isn't it?
Stunning, isn't it? That's Kew Gardens, 2 girls in Kew Gardens. That's the Eden perfume and more natural bath and body products there. Now I'm moving over here. We've got Jane Beecham's artwork there. I'm going to move down here closer to a beautiful bowl. Is that the right angle, Mollie?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's stunning.
Stunning bowl there, Paradise Pool. And this artwork has just come in from Dodhurst Ceramics. And they are COVID artworks. That's COVID cat there. I don't know if you can see. She's got various words associated with the with this COVID lockdown on the cat. Yeah. And the tile there, which I just love it. I think it's fabulous work. Inspired by Grayson Perry's Art Club is the COVID cat. So moving along here to Mary Wright and Judith Rowe pottery.
Oh, I love that piece.
Fabulous. Is that the Precious on the right?
Yeah, she's gorgeous, isn't she?
She's gorgeous, isn't she? That's from Cecilia Buchanan, sculptor. We've got some Tim Crike.
Yeah.
Tim's work there that, of course, we absolutely love. We've got another of
You
Campbell's
can't get more local than Tim, can you?
You really can't. He's just down the road. We've got Ali Al pottery. We have got your favourite.
Yes.
Yolanda Beer's artwork, ceramics there. We've got these incredible trees from Jill Bridgestock. That's actually the bronze is stunning as well. That's another of Cecilia Buchanan's. And then moving up here, we've got a couple of pieces from Georgie Watson. And then we're just turning round. That is the door there. We've got lovely customers in the shop as well now. I'm just going to move it around this way. This is some garden sculpture from Cranbrook Iron. Coming back round this way, there's clothing there from the Make Shed in Goudhurst. Oh, and actually, I'm just going to take you a little bit closer to these bags up here, which are, I love these. They're from a Kent-based company called Elvis and Cress, and they are all made from rescued material, mostly decommissioned fire hoses that would otherwise be destined for landfill. And they make these extraordinary goods from decommissioned fire hoses, and also offcuts from Burberry leather that would otherwise be going to landfill. So I just love that company. They are
That's incredible.
Yes, they really are really interesting company. We've got their purses, wallets, cufflinks as well.
So is each one a unique then, all their bags, if they're made from the offcuts?
They will all differ slightly, yes. I mean, they follow the same design for, each bag, but each one will be just slightly different. Absolutely. A little bit of homeware there, some cushions. Fabulous hairs from the Make Shed.
I think Leslie would like those cushions. I can see them in her house. Do yourself, like, Leslie, if you're there.
So background here, back to those fabulous lampshades from Bloomsbury Revisited. And then on the central table here, we've got our ceramics from Yolanda Beer, Edwards and Todd, Dodhurst Ceramics, Ali Al Potts.
Oh, Leslie said she likes the lampshades. So you've got to give Jane a call, other Jane a call.
They are fabulous. And then it's another Tim Crike at the top there. And then Lucinda Bothwell, Ticehurst Sky. And then that's Helen Barnard, watercolour, Pathway into Knoll. And then a few bits on the table, again from Elvis and Cressy. We've got Alice Robson leather bags that she makes in her workshop, multi-talented as well as her fabulous jewellery. Samantha Hall Designs, all eco-friendly, little cosmetics bags, oven gloves, little bags there, and aprons. And last bit here, a few bits there from Chalk UK Clothing, stunning silk scarves, which actually I do need to hang up to see them properly, from Linda Pocock. She's based in Tunbridge Wells. Scarves there from the Make Shed. And those gorgeous linen summer scarves from Josephine Doolin. She's based in Hastings. And here we are back
at base.
Back where we started.
And we've just had Claudia come up on screen.
Oh, fantastic.
Jane. Hi, Claudia.
Hi.
Hello. Whereabouts are you, Claudia?
I'm in my studio, actually.
Fantastic.
In the middle of the woods, so you also had a bit of technical issues to start.
Yeah.
But I'm in now, and you got frozen as well, so it was good that I know what Jane's lovely shop looks like, so I could actually visualize myself whilst you were doing the tour. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, both of you, to.
Welcome.
I don't know if you want me just to say a few words about my work and what I do. I can do is I'll flip my camera and I'll do a little bit of a tour. You're on my phone, actually, on my selfie stick. So I'm going to flip the camera. Just bear with.
It's easier on the phone, actually, isn't it, when you're wandering around a workshop or a shop?
Yeah. So this is one of my kilns. It's quite big, but basically I'm a glass fusing artist, and I have been a glass artist actually for over 20 years, but I have been fusing glass for 15. I was a mosaicist before, and people ended up calling me a masochist because it's such a time-consuming activity. And I discovered fused glass actually when I was 40 years old. Sorry, I've given my age now, but and I just fell in love with it and just started small, doing jewelry and things like that. So I took like a stand at the National Wedding Show first, and then I had a stand at a trade show in London, where the buyer of the National Trust actually was going around looking for new sort of ranges, and then they selected a range of my jewelry. So that's how I sort of got started, really, and then it was just developing a step at a time, sort of buying. This was my first kiln. I'm going to show you this one here. That was my birthday present from my mum and dad. And then I took. I was in Worcestershire at the time, so I took a small sort of workshop studio, and then it was just sort of a matter of developing little by little. And I'm just going to show myself again, because you'll see that again too many times now, but I will flip again in a bit. Here I am. So and really it's funny because Jane was talking about passion, and glass fusing is my passion. And it's although something that I discovered only when I was 40 years old, because my background is I worked for the telecoms industry for 10 years, and I studied linguistics and philology and things like that, so nothing to do at all. But I was always arty as a child. And also I loved, so I tried all sorts of things when I was little, all sorts of crafts and drawing and things like that. And I don't know if you noticed when I did the tour a little bit, I do a lot of trees, and trees are one of my passions. So I actually, it's funny because it's that passion started when I first visited England. So I'm from Brussels myself. So And I came to England to actually learn the language, like on a sort of, exchange, young student exchange, because I was 11 years old. And I could see all these, these dead trees, along the roads. And I just fell in love with them. And that's when I started drawing trees. And obviously now I do them on glass, and they have been really popular. So I was in Worcestershire for quite a long time, for 10 years, sort of opening a studio, closing it, reopening another one, because life happens. And, I had all sorts of reasons why I had to put my business on hold for a while, but I had to reopen it, and for personal reasons again, we moved, my husband and I, to Tunbridge Wells 3 years ago, because he works in London. And so I decided, my daughter as well, being at university in Southampton, I thought, that's it. We were all scattered around the country. I thought, right, let's close that page, close that chapter, and move down. And to be honest, 3 months after moving, I thought, I've got to start again. Everything was in storage, all my kilns and everything. And I thought, I've got to. And but obviously finding studio space is really tricky, especially for kilns, because I need quite a big space. So I've actually moved since moving down 3 years ago. I've had 4 different studios. So that's more than one a year, more than one move, which is quite crazy. But it just shows you how much I love this. So that's my little story. And glass fusing is just about. I mean, it's such a great medium, because it's just endless. It gives you endless opportunities to try and experiment. And I always compare it to cooking and baking, because the glass, and I'm going to flip again. You have to stop me if I just go on and on too much, like
no, not at all.
So I'm going to show you the glass actually comes in sheets. So there's a few sheets of glass here. They're actually part sheets. And it's all about basically cutting and slicing. So you see some of my tools here, like for cutting the glass and snapping the pieces. And it's all about building layers of the glass. And for example, I mean, this is a commission I'm working, making door panels for an entrance door, actually, in Tunbridge Wells. So it's all about building layers of glass, and that goes into a kiln like this one, onto a shelf, and basically, which is like a big oven, and but it just goes up to 800 degrees, and that's where the glass layers start to melt and fuse together. Sorry? Oh, sorry. I
don't know what that was. I think it's just the shop busy.
Yeah,
in the shop. So
and really, you can do so many things. I mean, there's all sorts of accessories. The glass is absolutely gorgeous to work with, and it's there's no end to what you can create. So I absolutely love it. And I think when I'm 100 years old, I'll still be making glass. So yeah.
Yes, and it was lovely, because actually I think, Claudia, you came into me. Was it before Christmas? It was
actually, yes, and I was sort of reminiscing as well, and I think you just opened a month ago.
Yes, it was possibly November.
Exactly. And I met Anne Wagstaff, .her Ceramics, for the first time. So we'd never met before, and we got together to discuss some things to do with the Southeast Open Studios, which obviously is only happening virtually now. So that was the first time we met, and we just, we sort of fell in love with each other. It was just amazing as a meeting her, and she mentioned you, Jane, at the end of our get together, and so I thought, oh gosh, yeah. And she said such lovely things about you, and I thought, yeah, I have to go and see Jane. So I emailed you, and I came to see you, and obviously we hit it off straight away. And the thing with you, Jane, is you have a vision, and I found that straight away when we met. You have a vision, what is good, what looks good in your shop, but not only that, you're such a lovely person that you simply naturally. Oh, sorry, my battery's low. I'm back. You naturally attract, the right people, the right artists, the right makers, the right suppliers, and you've managed to create this sort of haven of gorgeousness. So I'm very.
Oh, isn't that so lovely? Thank you, Claudia. Thank you. And it's, and as I say, it's an absolute joy to actually be working with and showcasing all the amazing artists and makers that I have. And actually Claudia's work sells really well in Greenfinch, and the trees that you have such a passion for, and I do too. I love trees. They sell really well. They're fabulous. They're gorgeous pieces of glass art. So no, that's great. Thank you. And yes, no, it's great. It's so pleased you came and found me. And as I say, anybody else out there, local artists and makers from Sussex and Kent, if you think you have something that would fit in with Greenfinch, then please do reach out to me. Please do contact me. So it's difficult to find you all, particularly when typical artists and makers are not so good at promoting themselves. So as I say, door is open, the email's there, so please do reach out to me. Come and let's have a chat.
It can be, I have to say, it can be daunting, for artists and makers to actually, pick up the courage and come, contact, often it's, by email first, just to, because that's the easy bit, isn't it?
Yes.
But to actually come through the door and meet with a gallery or a shop owner, it is quite daunting. But it's once you've done it, and especially if you start with Jane, then.
And yes, and actually, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody can say no, and I do say no to some people if I just think it doesn't quite fit with Greenfinch, or it's not quite right at the moment. Then I sometimes I do say no, but it's a nice no. But as you say, that's the worst that can happen, and just a few minutes wasted. But so no, always worth reaching out to people and going and seeing people. But I do appreciate it. It's tricky. As we were chatting before with Molly, when it's your artwork, your creation, it's your baby, it's a personal thing. But definitely worth getting out there and finding other people in your area, other shops, other galleries who will do this sort of thing. Take local artwork, take local goods, go and see them, go and chat to them. So what's the worst that can happen?
Well, I'm always convinced that there's obviously so many artists and so many even artists doing the same, working the same medium. Like obviously, I'm not the only glass artist. There's a lot of very talented glass artists in the area. But I always believe there's one shop or one gallery at least for every artist.
Yes,
it's just a matter
absolutely.
Trying and you'll find. Yeah.
Absolutely, and keep going with that passion.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining us, and so interesting to have a sneak peek in your studio, because I haven't seen that either, and it's just really interesting. And of course, Claudia was due to be our next Meet the Maker back in April, so as soon as we can do that again, might be next year. We'll see how the autumn goes. Then we'll have Claudia in. So watch out for that and come and actually meet Claudia. She's an absolute delight, always interesting. So thank you, Claudia, for joining us today.
Thanks, Claudia.
Thanks. Bye.
She is the definition of what you said a creative should be, isn't she? She's so
fabulous.
Kind of, she's got such passion and, like you say, drive and focus.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah.
I know, so lovely. And again, somebody who's found that passion, later in her career, has done other things first. So it's always interesting. But I'd like you to introduce you to Sandra Banderelli now. She's just pottering about there behind the desk. Sandra is Ticehurst based as well, and she is an artist and printmaker, and so kindly coming to work in Greenfinch on a Wednesday. So Sandra will be here on a Wednesday if you'd like to pop in and say hello. And I'll bring her over to say a few words about how she found her creative side and actually went on to explore that.
It sounds like you're busy over there with lots of people in the shop.
There are a few people in the shop now, yeah. Sandra, are you busy? Okay, I'm just going to bring Sandra over. So this is Sandra. Hello.
Hello, Sandra.
Have a seat there. So Sandra and I were chatting earlier actually about how she started with her printmaking artwork, and I shall hand you over to explain about when you went to Brighton and what you did and what your passion is, Sandra.
Certainly. I started at actually Brighton, but I was based in Hastings as a mature student, and went in and did the foundation course, and then worked my way up to a full degree, and was one of the first students at Hastings to do, at the Hastings sort of campus, to do a degree in art and design.
Lovely, yeah.
And yes, I specialised in printmaking. Really, really enjoyed screen printing and also etching, and developed an interest in abstracting. Interestingly enough, sort of the lungs. I became very interested in reflecting how lungs actually worked, and reflecting that in the screen prints and the monoprints that I did. And then I moved on to looking at writing and combining that with printing as well. But I have also been doing normal work as well to earn normal money.
Can we see some of your work in the shop?
Yes, that's what I'm just thinking.
Fab, thank you.
Grab a couple of pieces from the browser, and
I'll say as well to everyone watching, if you have any questions, please do pop a question down in the ask a question bit, and we'll be watching them as they come through.
Yes, absolutely, please do. But again, I think Sandra is a lovely example of somebody thinking, oh, I really want to do this, and actually just going and doing it at any point as a mature student. So moving out of the way again while we just see.
Oh, lovely! Wow.
Favourite, most recent works that I did. As I say, I'm very interested in handwriting. I like to enlarge handwriting, partly because it creates a sort of abstract shape, and partly because it makes people look. People are always looking and trying to understand art. What does it say? What does it do? What does it mean? And I think, with writing in particular, we're always trying to read it. We're trying to understand what it says. And of course, it says nothing. It sort of says something to me, because I know whose handwriting it is, and I know what part of their letter that was written to me and what those words actually say. And all these things have a very, very personal significance to me. But I love the way that people come in and they read my work in a completely different way. Images that I had created that were monoprints that were of somebody's lungs, actually, people looked at them and thought they were beautiful butterflies. And I think that's always exciting, isn't it, to have your art interpreted in a different way.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's the exciting thing about art, isn't it, that everybody will see something different in it. And oh my goodness, it doesn't get any more subjective, does it, than artwork and what we all see in it. But yes, you have got a gorgeous butterfly print there as well. Let's just have a look at the butterfly as well. This extraordinary, beautiful work.
Can I ask, is the writing that you use on the prints then, is that from sourced material that you find, or is that from personal pieces?
I did these at home, not in a studio. And I used the gold leaf, which I had to sort of trace out on the paper and put onto the paper. And then I managed to, at home with a screen that I had created and exposed it under a really, really bright normal light bulb, actually, onto the screen. and then I was able to print the image of the butterfly over the top of the gold. And actually, I've got another one of these at home, another couple in different colours. And I really, really enjoy printing, writing all over the top. There's something also about something, having something beautiful and almost putting something quite, I don't know, just sort of cutting across the top of it, something quite graphic and spoiling the beauty of the image. I do quite enjoy that. I'm not quite sure why that is.
Yeah, I know, I can see that. That's really interesting, really interesting. And again, it's just, there are just so many ways in which, artists can create and interpret and express themselves in their artwork. It's just endlessly fascinating.
Definitely.
So yeah, thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Gorgeous work. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
So much amazing talent.
Yeah, I was going to say, even in the shop.
Extraordinary. And actually, we've got our last guest who has just popped in as well. We've got local Ticehurst artist Tim Crike, whose work I absolutely adore. He's taken over our windows at the moment, and we've got a lot of interest in his work. So I'm just going to introduce you to Tim. I shall ask him to take a seat in the hot chair. So here is Tim Crike. Have a seat.
Hi,
there.
Tim. How are you?
So,
Thank you
Mollie,
for coming on.
would you like to have a chat with Tim, or shall I have a chat with Tim? How would you like to do that?
Hello. Can Tim hear me? Have you got your headphones in still?
Can you hear
No, I can't
Mollie?
hear, no.
Okay, I shall.
Right, Jane, then you go
I
ahead.
shall do it then. That's a very good point. So Tim, as I say, is a local Ticehurst artist, and actually have you grown up in the area, Tim? Have you always
I've lived
been
in Ticehurst most of my life? Yeah.
been in the area?
Yeah.
So I think you grew up
In Ticehurst, I grew up in Ticehurst, and I've stayed in Ticehurst. So this is really where I live and belong.
Yeah. So your work, a lot of it is the typical gorgeous rolling Sussex landscape that we have around us, and I can see you go back and revisit that. So what is it about
Familiarity? I think it's just familiar, and it's reassuring to things that are that things don't change really. Just the landscape stays the same, but everything else changes around us. So I'm slightly attracted to things like landscapes without buildings in and things that don't really change. So
that's really interesting, actually, and something that I hadn't really thought about and appreciated. So I've learned something new there. But yes, you're absolutely right. Those scenes will not have changed for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah. And they don't have buildings in on the whole. Normally I just paint paintings where it's just pure landscape.
Yes.
Without too much human interference, really.
Those pesky humans.
Yeah.
And I think you, from what I see, you're really interested and are just actually incredible at capturing the light in those scenes. So are you out there at different times of the day for different?
Yeah, normally in the morning and then afternoon and then the evening. There's sort of three different lights that I sort of focus on. I normally paint directly into the light, so the light the shadows are either going across me or in front of me.
Okay.
And that, I guess, creates a sort of illusion of space as well as the shadow. Because obviously during the day, it's in the light, it's there's no shadow at all. So midday is not really good.
Yes.
Time for painting, really.
Yes, interesting, because you capture those shadows and the depth of your scenes.
It gives structure to the landscape. Otherwise, it's just flat green and it's not very interesting. So
yes,
more
that's
dynamic, I guess, at the end of the day or the beginning of the day.
What you do incredibly well. And what is what's the difference between the seasons, say midsummer light and midwinter light? And do you have a preference?
Well, it's just, I guess, warm. The light in the summer is much warmer. It gives you a feeling of warmth. And in the winter, it's quite cool. Light. Yet there is warmth in the skies and things like that, which make it quite interesting.
So really, you prefer that warmth in the summer. That's your ideal.
I don't think people particularly like. Well, in my work, it's more summer-based. People like that warmth, I think, and that immediate light. I mean, so I tend to sell more paintings of that time of year.
Yes.
High summer.
Interesting.
This time of the year.
This time of year is perfect for Tim's paintings. And also, you've captured some beautiful autumn colours as well with that just turning of the leaves. And
that happens early on in the day as well. So obviously in the summer the shadows are better, after 6 to 9 in the evening, where in the winter you get the shadows at from 2 o'clock onwards really.
Okay.
So it's different sort of time to paint.
Oh, it is fascinating. And I think you spent some time traveling in India and Southeast Asia.
Yes,
and the light there must have been just so incredibly different.
It was, and it seems a long time ago now, but I hope that sort of what I sort of saw up there I brought back over here and sort of applied to the paintings I was making over here.
Oh, interesting. So in what way? What sort of influence?
Well, just the warm, I guess the contrast of light is really interesting in Southeast Asia or whatever, or just the intensity of light is different. But I think that sort of caught my imagination, and then I was then looking for that sort of light over here when I got back. So
that is so interesting.
Just
so
it's so vibrant light, or just the contrast like you get in Southeast Asia, and then so you get that sort of light in the evenings, or when the sun's going down.
Yeah, that is fascinating. And actually, although we can't travel at the moment, but it just goes to show how different experiences, different travel experiences can influence somebody's work in that way. We were chatting about Yolanda Beer, ceramicist, having spent time in Japan, and you can see that in her figurative work. And then obviously with your time with that very different light in India, Southeast Asia, has influenced your work in that you're looking for that in these Sussex scenes. That's really interesting. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you for popping in. And that's Tim Crike. And as I said, we have got windows full of his incredible work, as well as artwork on the walls at the moment. So that's brilliant. And I've learned something new as well. So thank you so much, Tim, for popping in. Thank you.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so interesting, isn't it, with that light and again that influence and again it as we were saying earlier, it's so individual, people's work and what influences them and what triggers something, and that search for that certain something, in Tim's case, that light, capturing that light, which he does so incredibly well with his artwork. So well worth a look.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for introducing us to all those artists. We're almost at an hour, almost. But I just wanted to ask my final question to you, unless anyone else has some more questions to pop in the box, was just what's the future for Greenfinch? I know it's difficult to plan anything at the moment, but what's your sort of plans for it? Is there any sort of evolving you want to do? Or?
It's to continue to build on what we have here, and we have already got repeat customers coming down from a good radius around us. And actually, again, when lockdown is ended and people can come and stay locally, and we've got the fabulous Bell pub just a few minutes walk away, I'm getting quite a few people in from London actually. And somebody contacted me the other day about a piece of artwork they'd seen when they were here for the weekend a few months ago. So the reach is growing, so it's continuing to build on that, and also continuing to find new exciting local artists and makers from Sussex and Kent and bring them into Greenfinch for 3-4 months to showcase their work. So just continue to build on what we're doing. Really, it's exciting and it's great to be back. We are back open. We're open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 till 5. So pop in and see us. You'll have a very warm welcome here in Greenfinch.
Well, thank you. I'm back. Here I am. I'm back. I've been watching and absolutely fascinated to watch everything that's going on. There are quite a few questions that the audience have for you and for the people who've been on screen. So I don't know whether, Molly, you want to ask them or you want me to ask them.
Oh, well, let's have a look.
Got a few in the box there.
There was a question for Claudia there.
Yes.
I don't know if she's still about.
Yeah.
But it was about her motive since lockdown, if lockdown's inspired her any at all. Someone's asked to see my work, but we sort of showed that, didn't we? Very briefly.
We can see that again. Do you want to see that again?
No.
Yes, I think that would be a very good idea, Jane.
Molly
is being very, very humble. So
yes,
I think we're going to see, as artists are always very humble. So I think we're going to. And it'd be interesting if Claudia, I know Claudia is still in the background. I'll bring her back on screen in a minute and we'll ask her question. So yeah, there we are. There's Molly's work. Really beautiful, colourful, vibrant work.
Would you like to say a couple of words about that work, Molly? About
what staying very quiet. So that was a sort of a launch I did sort of into the. It was pretty much the new year, wasn't it? When I was doing previously, I'd been doing very sort of intricate black pen ink drawings with gold leaf, and then I suddenly realised the artwork that I choose, as you can see from behind me, is not black and white. I really, really enjoy colour, and I'm a very colourful person. I think in everything I choose and things I choose to wear, and I just started creating them, and a lot of them were based on kind of famous females during history. Including, it started off with all those sort of pagan dances I used to paint, and it kind of erupted from there. I think.
I think they're amazing. I do love the energy and the vibrancy in Molly's work. It's just awesome. So I just pulled Claudia up on screen again, so Claudia can answer the question herself, because I always like to hear the answers from the artist directly. So the question for Claudia was: has lockdown inspired you to new motifs? Bearing in mind you said the tree motifs came about in your early part of your career. So has lockdown come and brought some new motifs?
Thank you for this question. Funnily enough, and I know, I have seen lots of artworks and, looking at Anne Dodher's ceramics, COVID-inspired work, which I find absolutely brilliant and quirky as well. Funnily for me, it hasn't inspired me to create a new style or new type of artwork, but what the lockdown has done for me is to really force me, obviously, because I'm always like busy, like non-stop, and I mean, like a lot of us, but it's sort of forced me to step down and calm down, and then look at my practice more from a business point of view, and look back at all the years before and what I've been doing, what has worked, what hasn't worked, as more as a business model. And I know, Jane was talking about the idea of artists having that drive or the focus. I've always wanted to make this work for me financially. It's always been a dream for me to be able to come home and say, here's my bit of money, for the family that I've generated from my work, and obviously having this sort of setup here, which I have to have. I can't do this from home, as you can imagine. Costs a lot of money, so I'm always I am always focused on being able to generate income. So I have to have that bit of commercial hat on my head. So that's one thing, and I have to say that it's been really helpful for me, because I have come to make some decisions that will sort of come to fruition soon, in the next few months. And also what this has allowed me is to really sort of tidy up my studio for a start, because it's always messy.
We've all done a lot of tidying up.
But also I've done a lot of research on glass fusing techniques, because there's so many different techniques. So I've really enjoyed that time, you know, on YouTube and researching online, etc., and trying things. And I've loved that bit of time just for myself to try new techniques. So obviously that will come in the future as well with new styles and new work, but not necessarily not lockdown inspired as a theme.
That's really interesting. I think it sounds like very much like you're saying the same as Jane, that when you think about it, actually the opportunity to stop, breathe, reflect, restructure has actually been, for some of us, a massive relief. Yes. And a massive opportunity for us to just go, okay, I know for me, I've done very similar things to you. I've done, okay, now I can get my admin sorted. So when we come out, I can be more efficient. And, you know, I think that's been great for some of us, and other of us have had different experiences. But from a business perspective, I don't see it has had a negative impact on my business.
Totally agree with you. Yeah.
It was an opportunity.
Yeah. I've also actually set up an online shop, which I'd meant to do for like months and months.
Yeah.
So, and I've finally done it, so I can sort of tick a few things on the list.
Yeah.
And
we did checklists a few weeks ago, and everyone was saying how amazing it is to have a checklist because it just gives you that dopamine rush of yes. I actually got up this morning and looked in my to-do book, and I was like, oh, I've got nothing to do. What am I going to do now? Oh, and I'm sure Chris, who does our website, I'm sure if she's listening, she's like, oh my God, that'll be another reinvention on the website. It's okay, Chris. I've still got I've still got 2 more courses to write, so it's okay. But all of that things that are normally on your to-do list that are there that you keep, crossing everything off, and there's 3 things that move all the time. They're done. And that's just such a massive weight off my shoulders. I've now just got to remember to take that with me into the future. So thank you, Claudia. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And for Jane, there's a question here. Have you got some ideas of how to deliver the Meet the Artist event actually in the shop while social distancing measures are still in place? Do you have any ideas for that? Because we have a lot of business people who watch these, and they like to hear, and share ideas with
Absolutely.
everyone.
Yes. I mean, obviously it's difficult to have a physical Meet the Artist in the shop with lots of people in here as we would normally do that because of social distancing at the moment. So we're allowing a maximum of 4 customers into the shop at any one time. But of course, what we could do is to get somebody in here, get an artist and maker in here, and we give them a corner at the front of the shop, a table. And actually what we could do is a live broadcast from the shop for a Meet the Maker. So thank you for whoever sent that question in. This is what it's all about.
That was me.
Leslie.
But actually, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Use this broadcasting platform and actually have them in the shop. That's something that we're thinking of doing because we're planning to reopen the gallery at Ballantyne's on the 12th of July. And then the broadcast on the 15th of July, I plan to do live from the gallery. So it'll just be me and the other person in the gallery space. But we'll be broadcasting and taking questions like we are now. So exciting that this opportunity brings.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic idea. I need some technical support in the shop if I'm going to do that. But I think that's a great idea.
I'll do another rehearsal with you. So Jane and I did a rehearsal yesterday so that she was that we could go through. And she said, actually, we were better than, what was it, Newsroom Southeast, because we gave her many more tips.
Absolutely. I was on the BBC News channel a couple of weeks ago chatting to Simon McCoy about small independent retailers opening up. And it was just, I happened to see they needed somebody in the morning. And I said, yep, I can do that. And then, I was on at 3:30 without any tips. So I was saying to Leslie earlier, had a few more tips than
We've learned so much with this broadcasting over the last 3.5 months. Yeah, I'm actually doing quite a lot of training for people who want to use the channel, so that's quite interesting, and I quite enjoy that. So
that's a great idea. Definitely,
a bit of training to use the channel, and let me know. Send me an email.
Okay.
My to-do list is quite empty. So I've got a bit of time.
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
We can't have that.
No, don't worry. I'm sure people will hear this now and go, "Oh, could you do this?" And then we've got a lovely question for Sandra about, does she use solar etching? Because she was saying she uses light. So her process, is it a solar etched process?
Let me bring Sandra back on. Sandra, we've got a question for you. Here she is. Hold on a moment. We've got
okay.
My husband's appeared in the shop as well. So if the husband could take the payment and wrap the thing, that would be great, and we'll get Sandra back on. Yes. Oh, the joy of live events.
I know, but that's what people love. I mean, this is so encouraging that you opened on Monday, that people are coming back into the shop, that it's been a positive experience. Hello, Sandra.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll in the corner.
I'll let her. I'll vacate the hot seat for Sandra.
Okay,
for her
let's have Sandra back in. So we've got a few questions for you, Sandra, about your printing method, and what is your preferred printing method? Oh, you're going to have to give Sandra, Jane, you're going to have to give Sandra your earphones.
Oh, I am, right.
Otherwise she cannot hear what I'm saying.
Hold on a moment.
I don't know whether you're allowed to share earphones. Maybe just unplug them.
We'll disinfect your ears after.
Disinfect your ears afterwards.
Right, sorry, here I am. Hello.
Hi, Sandra. So we had some questions for you about your preferred printing methods. What are your preferred printing methods? And do you use solar etching? Because you were saying about using light.
Yes, actually, the image I showed you of the beetle, with the writing on top, that was a solar plate. They were both solar plates that I had used.
Ah.
I think it's a really, really interesting process. It's fabulous, of course, because it's very immediate and people can do it easily at home. And I think it is wonderful being able to expose solar plates out in the sun.
Yes.
And you can actually do the same with the screen printing as well. With the photographic medium, if you paint it onto screens, you can actually expose that directly to sunlight, and you get some, fascinating positive images. Just because you just don't know how bright the sun's going to be, so you you just don't know what you're going to get, which is, I think, one of the things that people love about printing, that you just no idea what you're going to get.
No, it's like magic, isn't it? So I know when I've done some solar etching, so you buy the metal plates with the light reactive material already on it. So it's a bit like a photograph, and then you have to decide how long you're going to expose the negative on the positive to the light to get your plate, and then you print it. So you've got all these moments of excitement when you just don't know what's going to appear. I love that process of the solar etching. I think it's underutilized. I was really thrilled when I saw that. I was like, I think that's solar etching. And I don't see many artists. We see so many artists, as you can imagine, and we don't see many of them using solar etching. So a lot using colorgraph.
I think possibly the problem is, because you've just said it's like a photograph. With a normal etching, you're using a different type of skill. You're using acids, and you're using copper plate, or you're using zinc plate, and you're having to use so many different techniques to actually get the effect that you do with the solar. And there is an element perhaps of feeling like you're cheating a little bit. I don't know.
Do you think so? I think it's I thought it was exciting, because as a photographer, to take it from taking the picture, putting it onto an acetate, and then exposing that onto the plate, and then doing them multiple times, actually was more scary, I felt. I don't know whether Claudia's, whether you've ever had a go at doing any etching or printing.
No, I've had a go at printing on glass using various printing techniques, and it's I love it. It's just the process, especially for screen printing on glass, is very long. There's a lot of steps, stages, So it's really for if you want to create a range where you're going to print the same thing again and again, then it's worth investing the materials and time, etc. It's really interesting techniques.
Yes, that I think you just nailed it there, didn't you? It's like, as you said, Sandra, that people sometimes feel that it's a bit of a cheat because actually printmaking does feel like it's such a long process. But I thought your work was beautiful.
Thank you.
And I want to come and have a look at it now. I'm inspired to come to Greenfinch and have a look. So I'm going to hand back over to Molly, and if Molly's got any more questions before we finish up.
No, I don't think so. I think that's all of the ones we've done. Only just say thank you, everybody, and Jane, wherever she is.
Jane's gone. We lost Jane.
Busy.
No, don't worry. We'll email Jane.
Okay.
But no, that was fantastic. And Tim, of course.
Yeah,
that was really, really lovely.
Yeah, I've learned so much. It was actually quite a pleasure for me to sit and watch and listen to everyone and the different questions that came up for me when I'm not the interviewer. It was a pleasure. Thank you, my darling, for being my interviewer of choice today. And I'm sure I will get Molly back to do some more interviews for me so that I can enjoy the experience myself. And it was lovely to be on the other side. I've got a new appreciation of the experience of watching now and what people will be experiencing. So no, that was very useful for me, and I loved hearing your take on things. Oh, and here she is. Oh, I don't know whether this social distancing and changing of headphones is you're both going to go and have to shower yourself in disinfectant.
We are. We've
Please.
got disinfectant wipes, we've got anti-bac gel, we have got everything.
Yeah, so, and when you're off screen, I would like you to confirm that that's what you will be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. In your ears as well.
Yes, I'm going to spray Sandra down.
If you could hose her, that would be great. So yeah, because we don't want anyone thinking that we're not taking this seriously, because we very much are.
Oh my goodness, absolutely we are. Yeah.
And thank you so much for doing us the honour of allowing us to be in your shop today and experience that. And thank you, Claudia, as well, for allowing us to spend some time in your beautiful studio. And I can't wait to come to the shop now and have a look.
Yeah,
so thank you so much. We have run over a little bit, and we often do. But this will all be put up onto the Pure website in the next few hours by the lovely Chris, who does all of our website work and all of our design work for us. So anyone who's been watching and wants to re-look at it or has some more questions, then please go on and have a watch. It's on the watch page on the Pure Arts Group website. And as Jane said, please contact her by email, and you can contact Claudia as well if you're interested in her work. I know you also exhibit at Chalk Gallery in Lewes, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, depending on what side of Sussex you live, if you're in the more west, go to Lewes. If you're in the east, go to Jane. And lovely ladies. Thank you so much, and thank you, Molly.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all. Thank you. It's been great. It's been fun. I've loved it.
It's been fun. You. So drop me an email, Jane, and we'll set up some training.
Thank you, Leslie.
All right, and I'm going to end the broadcast now for everyone. So thank you all for being here. And next week I have Micah or Freya von Bülow coming from Amsterdam. That is going to be a good time. She's a paper artist, and I've worked with her for years. She's done work at Glastonbury. She's now just completed her master's in Amsterdam, and she's going to talk to us about Pinterest. So that'll be interesting, because I don't know anything about Pinterest. So yeah. So see you all next week, and thank you again, and thank you, ladies, and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.